How are we perceived by people locally? This is one of the most frequent concerns for any organisation. All of your staff will have a view, but the need for robust evidence to set against the familiar range of pet theories is clear. Here's how it works. The first thing you need to do is decide what you want to know. Is it general perceptions of your organisation, familiarity with what your organisation does, comparisons with other organisations? Often the answer is all of these and a lot more. But if the survey is to work, it's vital to focus on a few key issues. You also need to consider who you want to survey. All of your local population, or only certain ages or geographical areas. For example, only parents of teenage children, only people who have used your service, or only people who haven't. Do you need to set quotas for the proportion of interviewees in different categories, for example, age, gender, ethnicity, etc.? Being clear on the characteristics of the audience you want to investigate determines how big your sample size needs to be, and that has a direct influence on the time needed to conduct the research. Another key consideration is how are you going to access the people you want to survey? Do you think they'll send back a postal questionnaire? Do you think they'll go online to complete your survey? What are the pros and cons of interviewing people on the street? Or is it best done by telephone? Are there any issues about accessing particular types of audience? For example, young people. Then you need to think about the questionnaire. The key thing is to keep it short and to keep it simple. And don't let other people piggyback their issues on your questionnaire if it doesn't make sense. On-street surveys can work, but telephone surveys tend to work better because you usually get a more representative sample. If you want to survey people who've used your services, you may have a list of contacts to work from, as long as they've consented to their details being used for research purposes. If you want to interview non-clients, you need to source a list from a commercial broker. The research can be very targeted. If you want to gather the views of parents, for example, it's possible to source a list of households with a child born in a certain year. The next stage is relatively simple. Carry out the interviews and record the outcomes. However, you need to be very mindful of issues arising which may affect the outcomes of the survey. Once the interviews have been completed and taken into account that any quotas have been met, then the data needs to be analysed. You should look out for overall trends and interrogate the data by classifiers such as age and gender, etc., but only where this will produce reliable figures. The data analysis should then be drafted into a report format and the key findings highlighted. The findings should then be shared as appropriate, and most importantly, any agreed actions taken forward to ensure your investment in research has been worthwhile. Surveys of the local population can provide valuable information. As we have seen though, there are a number of key steps you need to get right in order to ensure that the effort and the budget you invest produces reliable results. RCU is specialist in quantitative research and delivers robust, independent and objective intelligence. So if you'd like to discuss local population surveys or any other research needs you may have, please get in touch.